It's a guy who has been red fucking hot in this sport.
Mhm.
He's taken out damn near every top contender at 155 pounds. Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson. The list goes on. You name it, he's taken them out. But now he's facing this guy who everyone deems to be unbeatable. The moment's here. It's the pay-per-view everyone's been waiting for. It's UFC 280. You know, I put up a poll on my Instagram, or on my Twitter rather, and all you guys voted for the most part that this is the most stacked UFC pay-per-view of all time. Looking at it on paper right now, for me, is it? I don't know if it's number one, but it's definitely up there, man. I'm joined by Sam Grice from the YinYang Monkey channel. He comes on the show to break down the pay-per-views with us for the big ones, that is. How's everything going today, sir?
Everything's excellent, my brother. I can't wait to be doing this. Good to see you again. Every time I see you, I know there's a pay-per-view coming on the weekend, so I'm hyped, bro.
Exactly. Every time we see each other, we know that something big is on the horizon. And let's talk about what's on the horizon, right? It's a big card.
Yeah,
We got a guy in Islam Makhachev who is, well, he's got one loss, right? I don't know what exactly what his record is, 25 something, and 25-1, whatever the case may be. A guy who is the pretty much the disciple of Khabib Nurmagomedov and his father, right? Gets a lot of praise from those guys. A guy that is pretty much not living off mostly hype, but we haven't seen him beat a top 10 guy yet. So a lot of the people that are high on him that, love his ability, much like myself, are basing it off of what they think could happen against these top tier guys. Yet we really haven't seen it, to be fair. He's facing a guy named Charles Oliveira, a guy who, let's be honest, this fight is for the vacant lightweight championship, but we know who the champion is, right? He kind of got screwed a bit on the scales. It's a guy who has been red fucking hot in this sport. He's taken out damn near every top contender at 155 pounds. Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson. The list goes on. You name it, he's taken them out. But now he's facing this guy who everyone deems to be unbeatable. We're going to get into that one. We're going to start at the top, and we're going to break down some of the other fights on this pay-per-view. We'll start with you, man. What do you think of this fight? It's a crazy fight. What do you think?
styles make matchups, man, and
I got a feeling I know where you're going, dude. By the way, I've just had a feeling.
How we been doing this so long? No, well, I'm gonna go with Makhachev. Was that your guess?
No, it wasn't.
No, man. Listen, man, I have never bet against Makhachev once, and I'm not gonna start tonight, even when he's against the Bronx. Listen, this fight's so good because who can stop Makhachev's just overpowering, domineering wrestling, the same that Khabib had. If anyone's going to, it's going to be the guy who's the best lightweight in the world by far in the minute. Like you said, he's beat everyone. He's got insane ground game. He's like a snake. He'll get your neck, take it from behind. But this Dagestani wrestling crack has just been going on for too long in the sport now, and it's probably good. Like, Islam Makhachev is the pinnacle of it. I feel like he's a better striker than Khabib. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people on this. I know this is a rough opinion. I think it's going to be a great fight. I don't think he's going to run through Charles like he has with anyone else. Of course not. Like you said earlier, it's a different level of fight because he's against the best guy in the world. I just think Makhachev, man, I just don't think he's had the opportunity yet, but I think if he had the opportunity against a Michael Chandler, he would have took that as well. I'll be very surprised if I see anything but Makhachev in this fight. And that's just because I just believe in this Dagestani style wrestling so much. I think we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of what it's going to do to the sport now. We've seen Khabib and Islam and a few more coming through, like a guy I talk about, Mohammed Mokayev, hailing from Great Britain. He's another Dagestani. He runs through everyone. I just think in 10 years' time, the sport is going to have a real problem with Dagestanis. And Makhachev is going to be the spearhead of and he's going to show that to the world on Saturday. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind if Oliveira wins because the place he comes from now and just his rise through struggling and not getting the recognition they deserve to, like you said, beating Michael Chandler, Tony Ferguson, Gaethje. And he's a lightweight champion in the world, bro, so I can't wait. But like I said, my pick's going Makhachev. And I don't know how. I don't see it going decision. I think both of these have got the tools to stop one another somehow. But I just think Makhachev, in my mind, I got to go with my heart and my mind. And I think Makhachev gets the W with her.
All right, so, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Islam is a guy who, when I was starting to introduce this fight, I said he really hasn't faced any of the top level contenders yet, right? I meant no disrespect by that. I'm a big Islam fan. You know, I've seen what I've had to see. So I'm not of the party that he hasn't fought anyone. I meant that more for like a casual viewer per se, because I've seen him fight the Saryukins of the world, the Bobby Greens of the world, the Dan Hookers of the world, the Drew Dobers of the world. We know who those guys are. Those guys are good. But, you know, a lot of people out there, they like to hate for no reason, you know, but they like to say, oh, he hasn't, just because he hasn't fought like Dustin Pory or Justin Gage, you know. But I mean, the guy's faced just pure beasts, in my opinion. Maybe not the most popular guys, right? Still a guy who nonetheless is on a 10-11 fight win streak in all in the UFC. You know, that's tough. Doesn't even matter who you're fighting. That in and of itself is tough. He's facing a guy who is on he's on another crazy win streak himself, right? Maybe like 10 wins, 11 wins himself. So that's why it's such a big fight. I think Islam Makhachev is going to win as well, because I think Charles Oliveira does a lot of great things. I don't think Islam Makhachev does as many great things as Charles Oliveira, but I think the best thing that Islam Makhachev does, he does it better than what Charles Oliveira does best, which if you break it down to what he does best is probably his submissions, right, his jiu-jitsu. I think Islam's just going to do his game plan and impose it on somebody more. And then I just think Islam's going to impose his game plan more than Charles Oliveira. He's going to be more dominant. And that's it, man. There's been a lot of fights where Charles Oliveira has to stray away from his game plan, whether he makes a mistake or he gets caught. There's like a speed bump in his trajectory, whatever the case may be. He's had to stray away from the game plan and switch up what he has to do to win fights. Islam, with the exception of the knockout, if you watch all of his fights, there's never been a fight for the most part where you look at it and you say he's not controlling it. He seems to be in control of every single fight, even when he fought forgetting the guy's name now. It was like 4 fights of Thiago Moises, and it took him like 4 rounds to finish him. Then it took him like 3 rounds to finish Drew Dober. It looks like he's playing with the guys more than anything. He's sort of not trying to take risks, but he's always in control of every exchange. He's even in control of the stand-up exchange, because the looming threat of him taking you down is so much that guys aren't the same when they're standing with him. Look at Bobby Green. Bobby Green, anyone can, and this is his last fight now. Let's talk about this last fight of Islam, right? Bobby Green, he may not be ranked, but anybody that watches MMA can tell you Bobby Green's a stud, the beast.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, you know, this is going to be a very good fight. But yeah, I do think it's going to be a good fight, but I'm going to conclude with saying this. Don't be surprised if Islam makes it look a lot easier than people think. I'm just saying, because we've seen Kevin Lee take down Charles Oliveira. We've seen instances where this has happened, right? We've seen Charles Oliveira is hot right now. Yes, and I'm sure he's learned from it, but we've seen Charles Oliveira be submitted in his career. We've seen him be knocked out in his career. Sure, we've seen Islam knock people out, get knocked out one time before, but besides that, Islam's never been finished. You know, like, we're talking about things happening to Islam that have never happened before. Charles Oliveira, if he gets submitted by Islam, he's been submitted before. Charles Oliveira, if he gets finished by Islam, he gets knocked out on the ground or whatever by ground and pound. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Islam's going to finish him on the ground and pound, not a submission. I think he'll finish him with strikes. But if that happens, Charles Oliveira has been finished before by knockout. So these aren't things that we haven't seen. So I think Islam wins a fight, but we'll see, man. It's going to be a good fight, you know?
Well, yeah, I think you say it perfectly, bro. And to go back to your point, Islam, everybody gets caught, bro. Everybody gets caught, even these savages from Dagestan. I just think that, you know, you were saying that Makhachev toys with these guys. I just think it's just suffocating. He just has a suffocating style. And again, I always hate to bring up Khabib because he is his protege, but I kind of want to forget that he's Khabib. Yeah, you have to. But
they're so attached.
They are, yeah. I mean, people consider Khabib the GOAT as well, but they have that same suffocating style. They'll just drag you out. And you know what? But I think what makes it such an interesting, good fight is that Oliveira has just got the resilience, and he knows how to. He's got heart like fuck. You know, like he says, like, quotes, he became a star now. His quotes like, they hit me hard, but I'm illuminated by God. Like,
he's damn resilient.
Yeah, man. And I've become such a big Charles Oliveira fan, like everyone has. And, you know, but I've just got to go with, like, objectively speaking, I just think Makhachev will just do what he does in there. And, you know, he's in home turf, Abu Dhabi as well. I don't know if that make a difference at all. But
with the exception of one time, whenever we ever seen him not do what he does, he's always done what he does.
Yeah, exactly. He always does. Yeah.
And he's got Khabib in his corner for every single fight, walking him through. Islam will bury a person, get on top of him, and Khabib's right there in his corner telling him what to do.
Yeah.
Grab the egg, grab the leg, transition, you know what I'm saying? He knows.
Yeah.
You know, and he's got people of expertise there.
Exactly, and I don't think of it. I don't know if this translates yet, but Hamzat also didn't face anyone until fucking Gilbert Burns as well. And well, look what happened there. Fair
Right.
enough, he got he got he kind of
Could
got
be a rude
tested, and
awakening.
yeah, it could be a rude awakening. It could. Listen, I'm in no way am I counting Charles Oliveira out of this fight by no stretch of the imagination. It's just I
No,
just
no.
think Makachev will have him up, but you can't count Charles Oliveira out. You could triangle him when he's going down in mount or something like Charles Oliveira's that slick. Charles Oliveira can knock him out.
He can knock
We
him
just
out on the
don't
feet.
know.
I was gonna say that. I
Yeah,
forgot the guy's name that knocked out Islam, right? Like 10 fights ago or so.
yeah,
But
that was a
Charles
while ago.
Oliveira knocked out Michael Chandler with a left hook. Why can't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
very I was thinking about that too. Yeah. One thing
yeah.
that I
Of
was
course,
also
man.
thinking about that you mentioned about the resiliency in this is a lot of times, how do these guys win if they don't finish you, right? These Russian guys like Khabib, Islam,
Yeah,
they literally take your soul away from your body. You don't want to be in there
exactly.
after round 3 when they're on the floor smashing you. Charles Oliveira, I actually went back earlier, and a lot of these fights are quick, so it didn't even take long. Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler. What's
Yeah,
the ongoing theme here? He's hurt in every single one of these fights. At one moment,
everyone.
he's screwed, but he has
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mental capacity to say,
hmm
I got to the next round. Now I'm going to put it on you. I'm going to finish
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Like
No,
if
man.
Islam is smashing him on the ground, every fight begins at the feet again, right?
Yeah.
Charles does have the mental capacity to say, I was getting smashed here. Let me turn this shit around.
hmm No, that's 100%, bro. And he's just a veteran at this point as well. And he's a kid from the favela, mate. He's been through it all. Like, you can't take it away. But I'm so excited, man. Just, I can't. This is the best fight we've had in so long. I can't even remember the time we had a fight this interesting. To be honest with you,
It's not the
um,
promoter's dream per se. It's really not. Like, I don't even
it's
think it's going to
not.
sell that many pay-per-views. But if you're a true fan of the sport,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what this fight is.
You know what's going on. If you really know, and you've watched UFC, even MMA, any fight, like just technique, and these guys are just like all about it, man. And I just can't wait, bro. It's gonna be so good. But yeah, Makachev, it's his title fight. Like, I remember Habib saying that when Habib was still active, they fought on the same card. And Habib, when Islam was doing his post-fight press conference, took the belt off, took it up, and said he's going to be the future one day.
I remember that.
So
Yeah,
this will be Habib's just like it'll be full circle, man. And do you think if Islam wins, he'll go on another run like Habib did?
absolutely.
Potentially.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he will because who's going to do anything about it? Like, who do you see in that
yeah.
division stopping him? Really, you know?
It took so long for him to get a title shot. Do you not think? Because this guy Makachev for 3 years has been like the guy nobody's been wanting to fight,
Nobody
but
wants to fight him.
now he's got no choice to like knock down the door, and like they've just had to give him it.
He's there now. Now you have to fight him if you want to get to the title
Yeah, yeah.
again. Yeah,
Fuck, man,
he's
he's
made
so
himself
scary, bro.
undeniable. He is
He's so scary. Just
super.
like if
He's
you
like
thought,
Khabib, dude.
yeah.
You know,
No, but I'm
maybe
talking
he's
about
not quite the same, but
if you follow him on Instagram, like he's like riding horses and shit in Dagestan. You're like, that's a scary guy.
they're just different breeds, dude. It's like Khabib when he was
Yeah,
training in that cold river in the winter and he's going against the
yeah,
current.
yeah, yeah.
You saw
Oh,
that video? These guys are
yeah,
just
yeah,
different, man. They're not going to the gym
yeah,
and hopping on treadmills. They're doing that kind of stuff, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. Exactly, man.
I think one thing that we should mention before we move on to the next fight, which is right, it's who's a co-main event? Oh, it's not O'Malley, it's Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw. Before we
TJ
move on to that,
Dillashaw.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
one thing that we should mention is Alexander Volkanovski is the backup and he's going to
Oh,
cut
yeah.
weight.
Fuck yeah,
And
yeah,
we
yeah.
know, and I put something on my Instagram, on my Twitter of an alternate fight. Which one would you like to see? Which one would you prefer to see? And not even maybe at UFC 280, but after, because we know Volk is next.
Yeah,
But we know that the MMA world is a crazy place. This stuff
yeah,
happens all the time.
yeah. It does.
That
Yeah. Look at
one
the
of those
last.
guys
Look at
could
the
easily be out of the fight, and then Volk's right in there.
Yeah. Oh man, fuck! I'm glad you brought it up. To be fair, I've been thinking about it, and I kind of don't want it to happen because I'm so pumped for this fight that's about to happen. But if I had to pick, I'd probably rather because I'm a big Volk fan. I'd rather see him up against Oliveira because we've never seen Volk against such a dominant like wrestler, have we? As like Makachev.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. I mean, I'm sure Volk can wrestle because those guys at City Kickboxing are so well rounded. But I mean, is it a size difference thing with Volkanovski against any of them? I was surprised to see it announced because there was rumors of Benil Darius being replacement, but he's in the same card.
That's what it was originally. But the UFC
Right.
apparently took Volkanovski more serious when he said he was willing to do it. They're like, oh, okay, if you want to do it, then we prefer you. But that is a good option, to be fair. If the fight were to maybe fall off, that's a good option. But obviously, we want that.
Volk's pound for pound #1 in the world as well. Like, it's just like the size difference kind of gets me a bit. But we've seen many lightweights who are like 5'6" before, I think. So it's not impossible, but yeah, I think I'd rather say, but who knows? Volkanovski's an animal, bro. He could go and just like outstrike. He outstrike Max Holloway like what 2-3 times. So
yeah, Volkanovski's a beast. I don't doubt him anymore.
Yeah. I don't doubt him anymore. Yeah, the amount of times because he's so active as well. Though you've got to think. Like, I think there's been 2 podcasts we've had main events, and we're talking about Volkanovski in there.
Yeah,
like he's active as well, and that's got to show dividends at some point as well. He's fresh. He's game to go. But I don't think he'd get past Makhachev. I just don't, because like just going relaying back to the stuff we've been talking about earlier. I don't see a lot of people beating Makhachev, to be honest with you.
don't either.
I'd like it would be good against him against Oliveira, because Volkanovski's been against the Jiu-Jitsu guys. Like, probably my favorite round in UFC history, one of them at least, against Ortega. Ortega's jiu-jitsu is just as high as Charles Oliveira's, and Volkanovski survived that shit. So you can probably survive whatever Oliveira puts on him.
Yeah, definitely. And the one reason I bring that up as we wrap up and go on to the next fight is because apparently Volkanovski's next for the title. And I kind of get it, because at 155 pounds, if you think about it, nobody's really next. Like, it's going to be your like recycled. It's going to be like the winner of Chandler, Poirier. They're going to be like the next guy. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of open to it, you know, if he's going to be next after this, right? But we'll see how that whole thing plays out. It's going to be interesting. Let's get on to this next fight, which is another very good fight. It's one of the maybe the greatest bantamweight of all time. He certainly was in the conversation before the whole EPO thing that caused him to leave for 2 years with a suspension. TJ Dillashaw takes on the now current champion of the bantamweight division, Aljamain Sterling. It's a very good fight. What do you think about that one?
You know, when I was preparing for this podcast, just thinking through the card, now this is the hard one, which I can't put my finger on. This is the one that's hard, because maybe if TJ was like more active, the only thing I've really got to go on, because since he was banned, I feel like the bantamweight division has become probably the best division in the sport. Like, just the amount of talent that's came through and stuff. But TJ looked really good against Sandhagen. Like, that fight really good, and Sandhagen is no joke whatsoever. Again, we say this all the time. MMA math doesn't matter. Aljamain Sterling absolutely like ran through Sandhagen, submitted him. I would like to see Aljamain win, but I just don't know, mate. Like, I cannot decide. I really cannot. I would love to hear your insight, because I do not know what is going to happen.
So it's an interesting fight, right? Because Aljamain Sterling is a current champion. You got to put some respect on the guy's name. I personally feel that the bantamweight division and the 155-pound division, the lightweight division, or the 1A, 1B division of all of MMA. That's just my opinion. And this man, Aljamain Sterling, is a champion of one of those divisions. So you have to give him respect. He's obviously one of the better fighters in the world, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of how you scored the whole Jan stuff and all that. When I look at this fight, overall, I think TJ Dillashaw has more weapons to win this fight. In the stand-up, to me, without a question, TJ Dillashaw is a better striker. Without question.
Yeah.
This is no disrespect to Aljamain Sterling, because he's got a YouTube channel. He's got great insight. He's a smart guy in this whole thing as well. So no disrespect. We're just sort of dissecting, nitpicking the smallest things at this high level. When I look at Aljamain Sterling, there are some maybe holes, if you will, in his stand-up where like you'll see him duck his head down sometime, or he'll do weird movements. He's not the cleanest boxer. He's not the cleanest in the stand-up. He's really not. Like, Piotr Jan was doing really well against him in the stand-up. We know what he is. He's not a one-dimensional fighter, but his absolute goal is always to get the fight to the ground.
Yeah.
TJ Dillashaw, if it gets to the ground, TJ Dillashaw is a very good wrestler. He has a very good wrestling background, college wrestler, right? D1, if I'm not mistaken. Could be, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. And he's just very decorated. He's an all-around. He's got the whole package. It's interesting because you wonder if the EPO played a part. Because if you're telling me that I'm getting the TJ Dillashaw that beat Cody twice, that went on all these runs except for the Cejudo fight and beat all these guys, right? And became maybe the best bantamweight in the world, because I thought he was at the time. If you're telling me I'm getting that guy, and I know that the EPO didn't affect it, and what he's saying about the EPO usage was strictly because he was having trouble getting to 125, apparently had nothing to do with the prior stuff. If that's true, give me TJ Dillashaw. But if I see a less version in there, if I see a guy that faced Henry Cejudo and maybe didn't look at his best, I don't know. But then he goes back up to bantamweight and he fights Corey Sandhagen, and I picked Corey Sandhagen to beat him in that fight. I am a big Corey Sandhagen fan because as a technician, that guy is insane. There's not many guys in the world that are as skilled technically as guys like that. So TJ to go out there and beat him, I thought Corey won the fight, but apparently it's been revealed that TJ obviously needed surgery. That's a fact. But TJ said that his knee blew out in like the second round of the first round of that fight. To do what he did against a guy like Corey Sandhagen, and beat him on one leg pretty much, that took away all of his explosion. He wanted to wrestle more in that fight, and he couldn't. He said, that's impressive. And if I see that TJ, I'm picking him to win the fight. You know, I think TJ can do a lot more than Aljamain. That's just my opinion. I'm going to go with TJ Dillashaw in this fight. Until, you know, I see otherwise. Because a TJ at bantamweight is just a beast.
Yeah. You know what? You just got me thinking there when you were talking about this. I always like to go like the psychological or the mental game of this is 90% of it. A lot of people say that. And I just remember thinking TJ Dillashaw was so pissed off as well. He's had all that time out, all these like accusations, like correct accusations, because he shouldn't have done what he done, but you know, for reasons he did it, who knows. But he's pissed off, he's been through a hard time, troubling times. And I remember the speech he done after the Corey Sandhagen fight, like just saying, like calling out all the bantamweights, like the king is back. And I agree with you. I think he was the best bantamweight, the way he, you know, man, those fights against Henning Barrow back in the day, man, when he was just a young kid, man. Like TJ, EPO without EPO, you can't be that good, mate.
He put it on Renan Barrow when he was like the number one pound for pound fighter in the world.
Yeah. Listen, man, steroids are steroids. It's not correct. It's not, especially in a dangerous sport. But there's been many people who haven't been popped from EPO who've never broken the top 15. So, you know, it only goes so far, I believe, really.
Sure.
And TJ Dillashaw is cream of the crop. Again, I still can't decide. I think I've always picked the winner, but I can't pick a winner on this one. I don't, because I think Aljamain Sterling can backpack anyone. And he was good on the feet against Yan, and Yan is like Tiger Muay Thai class level. Aljamain Sterling, bit of one-dimensional, does throw a lot of front kicks. I'm sorry, he does. Watch the fight on Saturday. If he's standing up, he'll be throwing front kicks, looking for the takedown. That's what he does. You know, better than I could do, but fucking...
TJ is always moving, though, too, with those front kicks. Like,
man.
If you're a stationary target, that might work well, but TJ is always moving. He's always loose. He's always thinking. He's always throwing. He's just... You're right. You said cream of the crop, like, or I don't know if that's what you said exactly, but that guy cream up there, crop, up there with anybody. The technique.
Ever. Like ever, mate. Like,
absolutely.
If we had maybe a top 20 or 15 MMA fighters, TJ Dillashaw's up there. It's just his legacy's been tainted a bit, but you know, maybe I'm going with Dillashaw, but I just think he hasn't been as active as Sterling. And I don't know. It's a fucking hard one, mate. It really is.
It's a good fight.
It's so tough. It's so tough, man. This card is so good, man. I can't even believe how good this card is right now. Just thinking about it, but yeah, bro, I'm gonna go with TJ Dillashaw just because I have to, but I'll have to go with Dillashaw. But I wouldn't be surprised if he gets put to sleep by Sterling.
Sure. You mean like choked out, right? Like he goes to sleep?
No, choked out, backpacked. Like, but Sterling's so good.
That could happen.
So good on the floor.
You say MMA math doesn't work, right? But like, if we want to play that game, what did Sterling do to Sandhagen, right? And then look at all the whole war that TJ had with Sandhagen. So you know it's possible.
Yeah, literally, bro. And he
backpacked him like what you said and just finished him.
He done Sandhagen real quick as well, like really fast. Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt to have Dwayne Ludwig in your corner in terms of what that guy brings to the game. That's another reason why TJ is so smart too and was taken to the next level. But let's get into this next fight, man. It's another great fight. We got some great fights on this card. I'd say this is obviously the big three. It's Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean. He comes back to action and he's making a huge leap up in this division. He's fighting, I believe, the #1 ranked guy on the planet, Petr Yan. Fighting him, Sean O'Malley ranked number 13, a big step up for him. What do you think, man? It's an interesting fight. Sean O'Malley's certainly facing a man he's never faced before.
You know what? Gotta say credit to Sean O'Malley first, because for the longest time he was saying that, like, they're paying me more than most people on the roster. Why am I going to go up and fight killers in the top 5 of the bantamweight division when I don't have to? And for whatever reason, he's coming up against maybe the scariest guy. Nobody wants to fight Peter Yan. Have you seen him? He's just like a crazy Russian with ridiculous striking. But for some reason, when it first got announced, I went, "Oh man, Sean," because I'm a huge O'Malley fan. I was like, "This is not good for you, bro." And the more I think, and I'm like, the more I think, and how Sean O'Malley's 5'11", he's got reach, striking, back kicks, like all that shit. He could make Peter Yan look pretty stupid in this fight. That's my bet, bro. I'm going laying it down all in. Sean O'Malley is going to keep distance, pick him off, probably get a decision.
All right. Two things. One, I thought you were going to go in the other direction because you picked Pedro Munoz to beat O'Malley. So
I did, yeah.
I'm shocked by that. Let me just say that. And then number two, what are we, 3 for 3 so far that we agree? So we agree so far. Islam.
This has never happened. This has never happened before.
Islam, TJ Dillashaw, Sean O'Malley. So I do agree with you, man. And I'll tell you a couple reasons why. First one being this is a 3-round fight. We've never seen Sean O'Malley go the distance enough. Have we? Have we seen O'Malley go 5 rounds?
No,
I don't think so. No.
Not 5. No. I think 3.
Maybe. Have we even seen that?
It rings a bell.
Maybe.
You know what? I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't think right now.
Regardless, most of his fights are quick, right? You know, you play a 5-round, you do a 5-round fight, and you're playing a different game. Now there's a whole lot of more questions that need to come up, right? This is a 3-round fight. What is Petr Yan notoriously known for? He is a slow starter. Even in the first fight against Sterling, when Sterling got beat down pretty bad, I got to admit, in that fight, Yan was beating his behind before he got to DQ. That first round, Sterling actually, you could argue, won it in the midst of that beat down of the whole fight, because Yan is a slow starter. And there's one thing we know about Sean O'Malley, similar to what Conor McGregor is. Those guys are like the bulls, you know, like in bull riding when they got the cage door closed and they have a guy that has the rope on the door and he's ready on command to fucking yank that rope and pop the door open. That bull comes flying out of there. That's Sean O'Malley. That's guys like Conor McGregor. Those guys from the first horn of the first round are going to come at you and take your head off. There's no slow starting. So, and Sean O'Malley, again, like you said, he's longer. And to me, he seems a lot longer. Like just picturing it, I don't know the stats, but like just picturing it in my head, it feels like he's a lot like longer in terms of the reach. I think he's gonna pull it off. I think he's gonna piece him up. Certainly, I think he wins that first round, and then it's just a question of you get one more, don't get finished, you get one more round in there. I think Sean O'Malley wins a fight. You know, there's a lot of hype to this kid, but I think he's good. He's good. And special people recognize special athletes. Sorry to cut you off. Special people, they recognize special athletes, and Khabib said this kid's special. And when a guy like that says that, I listen. Not to bring up Khabib again, but it's true. The right people say the right things about this kid, and I think he's special.
Khabib said that about Sean O'Malley? I must have missed that.
That's, he did.
Oh, really? Well, he is, man. But, man, people forget he cracks as well. Was it against Thomas Almeida? Fuck me, man. Like, just like, you know, when he probably shouldn't have went for that ground and pound, we've done it anyway. Like, the connection on that. And, mate, like, I think he's versatile. Like, Petr Yan could come forward and make this a dogfight, because I know Sean O'Malley likes to keep a distance.
Definitely a good fight. Definitely a good fight.
Oh, yeah. Listen, like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm just, like, I just feel like this is Sean O'Malley's moment. He's going to grab it. Like, I think we've talked about this before. He's got that factor which McGregor had, where he can step up in those moments when you really think it's against him. Like, I dot, you're against Jose Aldo, never been defeated in 10 years. You're knocking off 30 seconds. Everyone's against you in this Petr Yan fight. You go there, you put on a clinic. I think these guys are made of those moments, and I don't think he's scared of the moments. And I think he's going to use what he's good at. And by the way, the only thing that would worry us, but I think Sean O'Malley's too smart for this. He wouldn't be as successful as he wasn't this smart. He's not going to start doing all that, like dribbling and fucking looking for the knockout with this. He's going to get the job done whichever way he can do, because he's getting Petr Yan, former champion, number one contender right now, and I just think O'Malley's going to come through, and it'll make me very happy if he does. I love Petr Yan, great fighter. Like, he's going to be in the division a long time at the top, whatever happens anyway. So, but yeah, man, I just think this is O'Malley's moment. He's going to seize it.
When we talk about high praise, let's not disrespect, which we're not, but let's not have, even you guys watching, don't disrespect Petr Yan. Don't think this is, even if you have O'Malley winning, don't think this is a gimme fight. Petr Yan, before the whole Sterling fights and all that, had guys like Dustin Pory saying that he thinks Petr Yan's the best pure boxer in the sport. You know,
Yeah.
Petr Yan is a beast.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a stand-up fight. Petr Yan's been boxing his entire life pretty much. He's been doing Muay Thai as well, but he got put into boxing, you know, like just the stand-up in general. That's his world. Sean O'Malley, the stand-up, Sean O'Malley trains everything. He started training everything from scratch. But again, we know the kid's a kickboxer. That's what he does. This will be a stand-up fight.
Yeah.
And again, Petr Yan is a very credentialed stand-up fighter. So don't nobody think that this is an easy fight.
Petr Yan has sparred Israel Adesanya. I was watching a video the other day. Adesanya was, I think it was Tiger Muay Thai. Someone, he was like, let me just feel him out. And this was before Petr Yan was kind of like, you know, like the household name he is today. Adesanya went, this kid's going to become champion. Fair enough. And then he goes, knocks out Uriah Faber. Okay, like that. Crazy. I think it was with a head kick. And then, you know, we know the rest is history. But yeah, I'm not counting Petr Yan out, but it's just I've got to go with my heart on this. Like, and this sport is beautiful, mate. The sport is beautiful, and we're so spoiled to have it. But these moments happen all the time, and it's pretty much every pay-per-view now we have now. Every pay-per-view, something like this happens. In this time, it's going to be O'Malley. I don't think I've ever been this confident. I don't think I've ever been this confident on this podcast. I just think O'Malley's going to get there and do it.
It feels like it's a good matchup for him, right? Because it's not like he's fighting a guy who's notorious for wrestling and is going to take him down and try to make his world. You know? Yeah, he's almost even smart in picking that. Like, you could almost say it's a nightmare matchup, but it's almost smart because, again, you said he's smart, and he's a smart guy. He's gotten praise from plenty of fighters of how he's approached it. You see old fighters that are like, I wish I approached it the way Sean O'Malley did back when I came to UFC. The kid knows he's not an idiot. You know, he's got colored hair.
Very smart.
Games, but he's preparing hard for this fight. I've been keeping up with it. He's being very strategic for this fight. He's been training longer than he usually does. He's a smart guy. He takes the sport extremely serious. So
no, man, I promise. Fuck yeah, bro. Well, we've got all the predictions so far, man. Can't believe it.
There you go. Yeah, 3 for 3. So, you know, as we wrap up here, let's look at what else we got coming up on the card, right? We got a couple, it's like 2 fights left on the main card. It's Beneil Darius versus Gamra. That's a good fight, man. Number 6 versus number 9 in the 155-pound division. I think I'll start by saying this about that. Just a couple thoughts on this fight. It's a good one because it's 2 guys with grappling backgrounds, and it's 2 guys that have shown that they could be in these 5-round, drag them out dog fights. And I'll tell you what, in a division where you have, we just spoke about it, the next guy in line, but technically is Michael Chandler versus Dustin Pory, the winner. That's why Volk is in the conversation. They're looking for new blood in this division. What better way than to have a new contender, the winner of this fight, 6 versus 9? You're looking at a new guy that can climb into that top 5 that hasn't been there already, because we've seen all these other guys fight for the title. What do you think about that whole thing?
I think Beneil Darius is getting seriously underlooked, and I think it's because he doesn't have a star quality name.
You know what it is? He hasn't fought since May of last year. I looked it up because I was like, I feel like I haven't seen him in a while. Think about it, bro. The last time he fought was Tony Ferguson.
Oh, fuck. Has he been injured or something? He must have been injured.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
So, well, maybe if he puts on a clinic, like he might maybe, I don't know. Again, I think his star quality is bringing him down a bit because he's not great on the mic. Great fighter, but, you know, it's just one of those things, isn't it? But let's not count off Gamrot. I forgot who, I'm sure he fought recently. But he's a savage as well, bro. So, you know, it's one of those fights. But I think he'll put either one in like great title contention as well. But just that division's so stacked, mate. Like you could, it's kind of like the fact that you've got to beat number 5 and beat number 2, and then fucking have an interim belt as well. So it's not an easy path to the title in that division. Like so.
Definitely not. Again, we mentioned it's probably one of the 2 best divisions in in all the sport. So it's going to be interesting. We're definitely going to tune into that one of the better fights on the main card. And then we got a fight to open up the main card. We got Katlyn Chookagian versus Man Fiorot. Listen, man, all I'm going to say about this fight is, you know, Valentina Shevchenko needs some new blood, right? She needs a threat in the 125-pound division. Katlyn Chookagian is, and I checked this earlier, she's on a 5-fight win streak. This girl that she's fighting, I don't want to mispronounce her name, so I'm going to read it. Man Fiorot, I believe that's how you pronounce her. Fiorot, she's French. Fiorot. So I believe that girl, she is on a 9-fight win streak, if I'm not mistaken. Something along those lines. She's undefeated in the UFC 4-0, so it's going to be a good fight, man. What do you think about that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Caitlin Chukwugin's always scared me as a female prospect. Like she's tall. I don't know. Has she had a title shot already? I'm sure she should have.
I think she has, yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, I think Valentina does need some new blood. I mean, Talia Santos put it on her in that last fight,
That'll be a good
so
one. I want to see that again.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that either. But it's
Sure.
Caitlin Chukwugan, I think I never count her out. It's like one of those things. Like I don't know. I just think as a scary force. I don't know enough about this French lady, but if she's on a 9-fight win streak, then I'm sure she's gonna come fucking bring it. And French MMA is on the up and up now, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I
On the
mean?
up and
Like,
up for sure. We just had that first event there, and it was
yeah,
great, man. So
yeah, man.
I'm looking forward
And
to it. I thought you were gonna say something. I'm looking
I
forward
was
to
gonna,
it.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like before we forget, you know what I'm gonna say? I've got to shout out Mohammed Mokayev, my boy. I think it was a couple of podcasts where I said this guy is next up. So keep that in mind when you're watching the prelims on this,
Okay.
everybody. I've said Mohammed Mokayev, the Dagestani Englishman. He's next up, bro. He's gonna be. This fight will probably break into the top 15. I've since I first seen him at the first UFC London. I've had nothing but confidence. His UFC's debut was first UFC London. The second was the last one. Dominant wrestler, bro. Just like an absolute savage. Similar vein of Makachev and Chimaev and all that. So keep an eye out for him. I just need to plug him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For everyone watching.
Second fight on the prelims is going to be good when he takes on Canada's Malcolm Gordon. So it's going to be a good fight. Another fight that probably should be on the main card is Sean Brady versus Bilal Muhammad. Great fight. As we wrap up here, I want to say that that's a fight that people should be tuning into. That's a fight where they need some new fresh blood in that top 5, and that's going to come with it. It's going to be a good one. Sean Brady, we know, is a good grappler. Very good grappler. And then Bilal Muhammad uses grappling in fights when he has to win. So he's very good as well. They're both good in the stand-up. So it's going to be a good fight, man. What do you think about that?
No, I think it'll be a great fight, yeah. Bilal Muhammad's obviously a lot of people call him boring, but you know, that's just more casuals, isn't it, really? He does what he does to win, let's be honest. Great fighter, very high level. Sean Brady, he's very exciting, very fucking scary. Like hits hard, grapples. Sure. Like if I had to pick, I'd probably say I don't know because Bilal Muhammad will do anything he has to do to win, and he finds a way. He finds that way every time.
He does, yeah.
I don't know, but I would like to see Sean Brady build his way up through that division because I think he's a serious threat. He's kind of like what Makachev was a couple of years ago because they all know he's there. We all know he's there, and sooner or later you're hoping he loses, so you're gonna have retire by the time he comes up. But yeah, Sean Brady's coming, man. He's a dark horse of the division.
Absolutely a dark horse, guys. So you definitely want to check out that fight. It's going to be a very good one. Maybe probably the featured bout of the prelims. It's been good, man. It's been good having you back on the show to break down this whole pay-per-view. UFC 280 this Saturday. Be sure to check it out. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll see you for the next one.
As always, my brother. Good to see you.
Take it easy.